Welcome back, everyone, to another explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining us today because, well, we're diving into something really special. We're looking at a text that hits right at one of the most profound paradoxes of the human condition. It's this fascinating journey into the dichotomy between our very real human limitations and the sheer vastness of divine revelation. We're breaking down a commentary titled Beyond the Veil, Divine Revelation and the Great Mercy. And honestly, the way this source unpacks ancient wisdom to solve a fundamental human problem, it is incredibly compelling. Okay, let's dive into this. The Apostle Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 2:9, and just let this beautiful, archaic language sink in for a second. But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. Even before we start to break this down analytically, you can just feel the sense of awe it creates, right? It's this sweeping, poetic declaration that immediately establishes a hard, non-negotiable boundary on our human capacity. Which naturally brings us to the core intellectual problem of this text. Why is human imagination not enough? Seriously, think about that for a second. As human beings, we can imagine entirely new worlds. We can conceptualize things as complex as quantum physics. We can dream up these intricately layered stories. So why is it that our absolute most powerful tool, our imagination, is completely, totally insufficient here? Let's look at Section 1, the ultimate mystery, human limitations. To really understand this mystery, we first have to fully acknowledge the problem. And the source commentary points out something totally fascinating here. The fullness of what God actually has in store, it exists entirely outside of our framework. It lies way beyond our three primary methods of gathering knowledge. You see, because we live in this fallen human experience, we are fundamentally unequipped to comprehend what has been prepared for us. We quite literally do not have the tools to grasp it on our own. Moving right along to Section 2, Limits of Human Perception, the three major limits. First up, we have sight. Eye hath not seen. Our human observation is completely tethered to the physical, temporal world. I mean, we can look out and perceive the staggering beauty of creation, right? Like a sprawling ocean or a towering mountain range. But as the source notes, we are completely unable to visualize the spiritual reality of God's eternal kingdom. No matter how hard we look, it remains entirely, frustratingly unseen to our physical eyes. Next, we have hearing, nor ear heard. Now, you might be thinking, well, if we can't see it ourselves, surely someone else can just explain it to us. But the text argues that even the most profound human discourse, the greatest literature ever written or the most insightful teachings, they're still too finite. Human language, as complex and beautifully nuanced as it is, simply lacks the bandwidth to capture infinite divine truth. It is literally like trying to pour the entire ocean into a tiny teacup. And finally, imagination. Neither have entered into the heart of man. This is the ultimate limit. The commentary really emphasizes that our deepest dreams and our highest intellectual ambitions fall entirely short. We can't even conceptualize or invent this majesty because these things exist completely outside the framework of our human experience. We are essentially boxed in by our own finite nature. But here is where everything pivots. Section 3, the Great Mercy Revealed, pulling back the veil. So the crucial point is this specific concept of the Great Mercy. Because right here is where we transition from that claustrophobic, locked-in human limitation to a massive intervention by God. The source defines this great mercy as the act of God actively choosing to pull back the veil, making what was totally inconceivable manifest to us. We couldn't reach up to understand it on our own, so God reached down to reveal it. And that brings us directly to the very next verse in the text, 1 Corinthians 2:10, "But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit." This is such a huge, enthusiastic shift in the narrative. Yes, the human mind cannot originate these things, but the brilliant news is that they are no longer strictly hidden from us. The commentary explains that through the Holy Spirit and the revelation of the gospel, this ultimate, unapproachable mystery is finally made manifest in the person and work of Jesus Christ. This divine revelation is the ultimate solution to our profound human ignorance. The veil has literally been pulled back. Let's transition over to Section 4, the promise of provision, a loving design. Now, it's wonderful to talk about all this high-level theology, but how does this actually apply to you and me today? Well, the heart behind this revelation is divine preparation. And this brilliantly illustrates that God didn't just leave us to wander in the dark. He is proactive, not reactive. The fact that things have been prepared implies a deeply purposeful, loving design. And importantly, as the text notes, this design is created specifically for those who stand in a relationship of love with Him. There's a really stark contrast we need to look at here. As humans, we constantly limit our hopes to what we think is possible, based on our past experiences or our current and sometimes very difficult circumstances. But God's standard of good is fundamentally higher and so much more profound than our own. The text actively invites us to let go of those human limitations and truly trust His higher standard. Furthermore, we really need to understand the true nature of this promise, because let's be honest, it is so easy for us to view faith as a sort of transactional reward for perfect behavior, right? Like, I do good things, so I get good things. But the commentary clearly differentiates that. This promise is actually the byproduct of a love-based relationship. It's built on trust, devotion, and alignment with God's will, not on just punching a clock and earning a wage. And that leads us to our final section, Section 5, a future of grace, future hope. We can actually tie this ancient, profound text directly to your everyday life, and it culminates in a truly uplifting perspective. The text concludes by stating that this great mercy acts as a bridge. It perfectly connects our current, frustrating human limitations to God's massive future glory. And why did He build this bridge in the first place? Simply because He loved us first. Understanding that divine love completely transforms our perspective from present struggle to future hope. And here is the ultimate takeaway. The whole reason why all of this matters so deeply. The path of faith isn't just about gritty endurance. It's not just about surviving the present moment. It is about anchoring your identity in a future reality so vast and so beautiful that it renders our current worldly trials incredibly small by comparison. You are living today in the absolute light of a magnificent, prepared future. So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. How does anchoring your identity in God's vast prepared future change the way you view your worldly trials today? If the veil really has been pulled back and an unimaginably good future has been prepared for you, how does that shift your perspective right now, in this exact moment? Think about that as you go through your week. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next explainer.